Okay, we're going to continue with the retrospective on the X-Men franchise, and it brings us to X-Men: The Last Stand. It's not nearly as bad as everybody makes it out to be. There's a number of things this thing really has working for it, and let's give this a little context. The creative team bailed. And I'm not just talking about director Bryan Singer, he took his writing team. So what was left was a studio trying to pick up the pieces and keep the thing going. Now, X-Men 2 very clearly set up Jean Grey coming back and being the Phoenix, but you really get the sense that they didn't know what to do with that story. You know what, honestly, I wouldn't know what to do with that story either. Because if you've ever actually read this thing, the Dark Phoenix saga, it's too big. And I don't just mean it's too much to fit into one film. The way that they had established X-Men up to this point and the realism that it was grounded in does not accommodate a straight adaptation of that. So the studio was left with this massive story, not knowing how to tackle it. The people who might have had an idea of how to tackle it all left. Where does that leave them? Well, they opted to pull their main story from something more recent, and the idea of the cure, which I think was a very good idea to go with, and it actually used it quite well. And some of the other stuff that works really well. It feels like even a larger scale story than X2 was, and that's a good progression. The performances are all solid. Obviously the returning actors at this point know these characters like the back of their hand. The big standout though, it has to be without a doubt, Kelsey Grammer. The makeup itself, I could take it or leave it, but his performance, spot on. Unfortunately, it's got a lot of other stuff not working so well for it. A lot of blame for this movie gets laid at the feet of Brett Ratner, which is a bit unfair. I'm not defending Brett Ratner, the man's a hack, but ultimately the problems with this movie are, they're at the script level. The big one for me being Cyclops. I understand. He could only do 3 days of shooting. They had to get rid of him somehow, so of course they killed him. And I don't necessarily object to the fact that they killed Cyclops. What I object to is how casually he is discarded. First of all, you don't even see it happen. You see something start to happen and then it cuts to something else, so you don't even know really what happens. It gets established a little bit later that yes, in fact, he did die, and then the story just plows on without him. There's barely any recognition of the fact that he's dead, and it's disrespectful to the character and to the audience. I would have preferred that they not even had him at all. They could have just tossed off a line of dialogue about how after Jean's death, he left the team and went out on his own. I would have been happier with that. And another thing, and this really is going to come across as petty, but to me, it just shows the lack of care. They had the character Callisto, and when she encounters Magneto at this sort of gathering of mutants, she makes this offhanded comment, you know, aside from you two, there's no other mutant here who's above a level 4. As far as I'm concerned, that's the damn midichlorian moment for the X-Men franchise. They're trying to take this insanely wide variety of amazing powers and quantify it to numbers. Oh, he's a level 5, she's a level 2, so he's automatically better than... No! Stop it! That's just callousness to the material. That's just the people not caring. The Dark Phoenix thing, I get why that happened. I don't get why somebody couldn't take 2 seconds and go, oh wait guys, maybe we should figure out something better than to just kill Cyclops off screen and have nobody really care. So that's where we are with the main trilogy. If I'm feeling really brave, I may go in and revisit X-Men Origins Wolverine. On that frightening note, this Council of Geeks is adjourned.